What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and today we are finally getting back to the series Team Spotlight. In this episode, we're going to be featuring a special team which was requested by a subscriber. In fact, he came up with the team and the name, the entire theme basically for the team. And I thought it was a really good idea, so I said that I would definitely use it. So in episode 8, we're going to be featuring a team that's referred to as Team Punishment. And Team Punishment consists of two characters that are definitely known for punishing bad guys, and that's Ghost Rider and Punisher. First, we're going to take a look at my agent and his items. He's wearing the new Bruiser armor, and it has a special ability that says single target attacks have a 50% chance to apply Intimidated. So that's a pretty sweet debuff right there. And then we have Coulson's Revenge, and I figured that Punisher would use a gun like that. It's a really big gun, so I'm sure he would like it. And that, of course, has Ignore Defense and grants Coordinated Attack. Next we have Army of One, which certainly goes along with Punisher, and he is an Army of One himself. Now you will notice that all of these items severely need to be reforged, especially the next two. So I'm going to be hampering myself a little bit, basically a sacrifice for the theme. This item is Soul Finder, and it has a chance to perform a counterattack, and also puts Sin on the enemy, and that will definitely help out Ghost Rider. Next we have Sin Flare. It's only power level 54, but has a chance to perform a follow-up attack. It has something called Mortal Sin, so it causes bleeding on enemies with Sin. So both of those weapons go with Ghost Rider. Now we're going to jump right into the battles against the computer. As always, the second half will feature PvP battles. Now as far as these characters, I really do like both of them. I'm a lot more familiar with Ghost Rider than I am with Punisher, so I may not always pick the perfect choice for his action, but I am learning him, and the more I use a character, the more familiar I get. That's alright though, because in Team Spotlight, I like to show off different moves rather than doing the absolute optimal move every time. It's more of a showcase of teams and themes. But we're looking at Proximity Mine here, and it can do quite a bit of damage. I saw it hit someone for 12k, I believe. It was definitely over 10,000. I know, I should have said over 9,000 there. But anyways, we switched to the Tactician so we could hit the blaster and get tactical maneuvers. Now we'll switch to Infiltrator, and we're going to shoot one of the Tacticians and gain counterattack combat reflexes. I actually had a request to do a Punisher versus Omega Sentinel video, and I do plan on doing that hopefully this week. I'll try to get around to it as soon as possible. I am much more familiar with Omega Sentinel, but there are a few major differences, at least for me. So I will make sure to go over that in the video. Now with my agent, I'm going to go with Army of One. That way I can at least put some dots on some of the opponents. And it looks like the shout kicked in, so I did intimidate that guy, which is pretty awesome. It reduces a lot of really vital stats, and that's attack, accuracy, and evasion. So we have counterattack on Punisher. We were hit by a Tactician anyway, so we would have gained it. And we counter with the Sniper Rifle. Now it's Ghost Rider's turn. And I'm a really big fan of Ghost Rider in the game, especially since he helped me get to the Adamantium League, back when Cable was the hero. His Infernal Contract doesn't work quite the same, but he's still a really viable character. And I love the fact that he puts Soulfire on two of the people that you don't hit surrounding the person that you do target, and that'll wipe buffs away. That was one of the biggest things that I used him for, back before the scroll even existed. And one of the other reasons was because everyone was wearing Infiltrator power armor back then, and he did a lot of damage against agents, and on top of that, his Pen and Stare can take just about anyone out. I really loved using him against Quicksilver, because Quicksilver would get so many stacks of Sin, and then Ghost Rider would come in and just destroy him. We're probably not going to get any big Pen and Stares built up against these type of opponents, but maybe we'll see something in PvP. So we're going to go ahead and use Melt Armor on him, and you see Soulfire go to the other two. And that's one of the things that I love about that move. It also, of course, melts armor on the target. So we just used Army of One and we gained Coordinated Attack. Unfortunately, that doesn't proc too often for me. Also, one of the frustrating things is I often see it come up after the enemy's dead. So I would be getting another attack, but I don't need it. It's still a pretty useful and pretty good weapon, especially for lasting as long as it has. It's had some real staying power. Even as other weapons and really powerful things have been introduced to the game, it still has its purpose. And if you throw it on your PvP team, there's a good chance that if both of your allies join in on a coordinated attack, you'll be able to take someone out, and it could really change the battle. The only thing is, like I said, it's not extremely reliable, at least not for me, and so I have kind of moved on from it. But it may be worthwhile to put in on defense, because like I said, you could be on a defensive battle and that procs, and you could actually end up winning some. And we all know how annoying defensive losses can become. I especially know that. So we'll see. I'm definitely going to mix it up in the next tournament. I'm going to try everything I possibly can. I'm going to try to get my defensive win percentage up. Now there you see the Sin Flare, and it put bleed stacks on them. So that's pretty useful. The problem is, of course, it's not reforged and it's only, what, a level 50 some. So its damage is pretty pathetic when it hits. But in my opinion, reforging items, it costs a little too much, and it's definitely not even worth thinking about before your max level. This actually never occurred to me before, but these two characters are also the only characters that bring vehicles to combat. Punisher, of course, brings the battle van, and Ghost Rider brings his bike. Now this is going to be the last round before we go into the PvP battles. And this battle is actually in the current Spec Ops. So let's see what we can do against these guys. First, my agent's stunned, but Punisher's going to get the first turn. And what we're probably going to do is use Proximity Mine. At the time, I didn't think of an even better option, and that is to use the EMP grenade on the power armor. But like I said before, the Proximity Mine does really good damage, so it's not a terrible option. If it wasn't for the protectors, we could have hit that blaster, but luckily he hit us, and we got tactical maneuvers. So now we start to switch through the armory, and then we're going to see what we come across here. We thought about using the Tangler grenade because of the stun, but we switched over, and that's when we find the EMP grenade. So we go ahead and use that, and Fried Circuits really messes up the power armor. My agent takes his stun, and now it's time for Ghost Rider. So we're going to go ahead and put Soulfire on the other two. It was protected again since they're running double protectors. Then the armor actually misses both of its turns because of Fried Circuits. So Punisher single-handedly took it out of the battle. Now we're thinking about using Battle Van here just to hit everyone. And we decide to go ahead and use the Batstone instead. We're going to just put some more debuffs on all three opponents. This time around my agent will get a turn, but first the blaster does amazing damage to my Ghost Rider. And that was actually kind of shocking. Let's go ahead and use Army of One. And you'll notice that it's shooting out of the top of the gun while it's standing straight up in the air, and I'm not sure why. I guess there was a little bit of lag, but it really didn't seem like it at the time. And there we go with Burnout, and it takes out the Bruiser. And now we have 4 stacks of Vengeance. So we're going to do a Penance Stare, and it'll hurt this blaster pretty bad. It's definitely enough to kill him. So we're in the process of wrapping this one up. And as we go into the PvP battles, I'm going to be using these weapons, and they're not reforged, and they don't do a ton of damage, so it's kind of like I'm putting a handicap on this team. They still did fine, but it's really not a full measure of how well this team could do. I actually think this team would do quite well, and could definitely be viable on offensive battles. First up, we have an agent wearing a Scrapper armor, we have a Scrapper, Quicksilver, and we have Human Torch. So I really wasn't worried about this team. They're going to enrage my agent, and like I said before, Ghost Rider will destroy Quicksilver with a pen and stare after he gets a bunch of sin stacks. Then on top of that, they have a Scrapper agent, so that's going to help my Bruiser agent as well. If I had a different weapon, I'd probably do some huge damage on this team. First thing we're looking to do is we were going to use Proximity Mine on Human Torch. The only problem is, I really wasn't sure if it would damage him, because I didn't know if it counted as burning. But it said range tech, so we went ahead and used it. And Quicksilver hit us with a blast from the past already. And then the problem was Human Torch evaded it anyway. But we did get tactical maneuvers, and that's why we attacked Torch first as a tactician. Next we're going to switch our class, and we're going to keep switching till we get the Bruiser. That kind of opens us up for the Torch to hurt us, but we are able to hit their 2 Scrappers and gain some enraged. So we're going to use the Bat Stone, and then we'll get enraged, and then Quicksilver activates his tag team, which is to be expected. Now there's 4 stacks of sin on Quicksilver. Their agent has Target Painter, so I see that they have Goblin Glider, and I know that a potential huge hit could be coming. And that's pretty much their setup. They're trying to one-shot someone. But I'm really not sure what happened there, because there's kind of a glitch. All I know is that I'm not dead, and I'm happy about that. So we're going to use Coulson's on one of their Scrappers. We're going to hit Quicksilver, because he's so annoying. And we put Intimidated on him. And you'll see that a non-reforged Coulson's Revenge still hit Quicksilver for quite a bit of damage. Now here comes the turn that we were excited for, Ghost Rider. First we're going to use Burnout, which will probably kill Quicksilver. And then we're going to use Pen and Stare on their agent. And we'll see how much damage we get from it. Doesn't look like it's going to be a huge one, so instead we're going to opt for his other move. And we're going to put Melt Armor on him, and Soulfire will work on Human Torch. So we went ahead with that. Now we're going to call the Battle Van. So it's back-to-back vehicle moves. And we intimidated Human Torch, which is good. But he came back with Plasma Body. Now we still have that Pen and Stare in case we need it. And we know we can't really use those weapons, so we're going to use Army of One. And he evades it. And he's been evading just about everything from my agent. But it's important to note that even with an evade, he still got hit with the Intimidate from my armor. He already had Intimidate, but that was still pretty cool. Now he used his big hit, Fireball, but it didn't take Punisher out. We have a little bit of health left. But it's not going to matter because Pen and Stare hits for over 15k, and we win the battle. Now we're going to move on to the second and final battle. We're facing a Blaster Agent, Future Foundation, Spider-Man, and he is an Infiltrator, and Emma Frost. So what we're going to do is, we're going to switch to Tactician and throw Proximity Mine, and we gain Tactical Maneuvers. Now he has Protect on, so we just went ahead and shot him, rather than switch and try to do something else. I don't really see agents wearing that blaster armor anymore, especially with the change to tacticians. But he's using the Mahayuga, so he got a preemptive strike, which I did dodge. We're going to use the Army of One, that way we can hit the Protector, but still do the splash damage and debuffs to the surrounding characters. So it's not a lot of damage, but we did put Burning on them. So that's pretty good, and we caused Organic Recovery also. Then we got hit with the Blade of the Guardian, so that's why he's protecting. With Ghost Rider, we're going to go ahead and melt his armor and cause Soulfire to the other characters. And it'll remove their buffs. Now it's Emma Frost's turn. She Psychic Taps Ghost Rider. I'm not that worried about that. I can't remove it, but I'll probably just attack through it, to be honest. After Spider-Man uses his web swing, their agent's going to take their turn, and then we're going to get 3 turns in a row, so we're hoping to take at least one character out. Their agent just triggered Proximity Mine. Let's see what type of damage it does. 14,000, so there goes a really nice hit, and it finished their agent. So now we got 3 attacks, and only 2 characters remaining. We're going to switch to a Scrapper, so we can attack Spider-Man, and get a double attack. So let's try to stun him. And it's pretty funny that we actually webbed Spider-Man. We didn't get the stun, and he's going to counterattack, which was kind of our fault, but that's alright, we'll just keep attacking through it. We're pretty confident in this one. We potentially have 2 Scrappers that are going to get double attacks on that Infiltrator, thanks to Punisher. Spider-Man was able to dodge Army of One, but we're still going to put Intimidated on, which I really like that. Even if you miss, you can still apply that, so that's pretty cool from the armor. Anything that will lower Spider-Man's evasion is to our benefit. Now on Ghost Rider's turn, we're going to use Burnout. And one of the reasons is because why not, and also because Emma Frost could get Cosmic Power and remove Sin Stacks at any time. And it could also proc, of course, on Spider-Man. So, just the fact that they have Cosmic Power out there, I might as well get what vengeance I can. And then I'll go ahead and probably try a Penance Stare on Spider-Man. So this ought to finish him off. And it did. It almost did 20,000. So Spider-Man's gone. And just down to Emma Frost. There goes Mental Trauma. And we're going to get 3 more attacks in a row. So we're going to try to finish it this round. But we may not be able to. Emma's really resilient and doesn't take a lot of damage at all. With Punisher, we're going to have to go all the way to Infiltrator. Let's go ahead and hit this Tactician. We could use something else like a Proximity, and we thought about it, but we're going to just go ahead and go to our opposite class. So let's switch through here, and we're going to stop on Infiltrator. Then we're going to shoot her with the Sniper Rifle. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but we got a coordinated attack. And now we should be able to do some damage after we softened her up. So there goes a decent attack from Ghost Rider. And then here comes a Sniper Rifle attack because we had double attack. Now let's see what our agent can do. We're going to use Coulson's Revenge. And it still does pretty decent damage for being 100 levels under me. And we apply Intimidated, which happens almost every attack, it feels like. Even though I think it says only 50% chance. There we finished her, and as you could see, a coordinated attack did proc, and it always happens like that. Well, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the team and the episode, and I want to thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure to check back for future videos. Until next time, good luck, and take care.